Hello. Now, last we left off, the British had seized the Dutch Cape Colony, the Boers had completed the Great Trick, found in Italia got taken by the British, and then they formed two new republics. And then the first one was Transvaal, or South African Republic, much later, and the next one was the Orange Free State, in Afrikaans Orange Vrystaat. Now, what were these republics? Who were they? Why were they here? Well, firstly, let's look at the Orange Free State. Now, after its independence, diamonds had been discovered in hills near the capital, which influxed the population and the GDP. So the Orange Free State was basically just improving. Meanwhile, the Transvaal was nearing bankruptcy. Their GDP was going down, and the threat of British invasion was imminent, which happened. But overall, they just took it without any violence. Because what was the Transvaal going to do? Fight back? No. They were broke. But this actually helped the Boers because it means they were protected by the Zulu threat. So they signed an agreement. But after the Zulu had been crushed, the Boers weren't granted independence. This led to the First Boer War. The British thought the Boers would be a pushover, which they weren't. In fact, the Boers won the First Boer War, despite them being farmers. Actually, they were quite skilled marksmen, putting the British marksmen to shame. Now, the Boers had crushed the British in the Battle of Majuba, which left a heavy impact on the British for much later. But this also helped adapt the British tactics and made the British accepted that the Boers were formidable fighters, even though they were pretty much prepared for the war that came ahead and thought that they were going to win, but they didn't. And by the way, I'm using stick figures now. But what was the Orange Free State doing at this time? Well, they're basically just warring against Basotho and just gaining GDP, to be honest. So yeah, but some while later, diamonds were discovered out of Pretoria. That might have been helpful before the First Boer War. Now Britain, being Britain, wants those diamonds. They want them really, really bad. The Transvaal just say, ha, you don't have diamonds. But then they conduct the Jameson Raid, which provokes the Boers, but the Jameson Raid flops horribly, honestly. And most of the British trying to conduct the Jameson Raid failed. But why was the Jameson Raid conducted? Well, firstly, because Uitlanders, or traders or miners from Britain had come to the Boer republics and weren't treated as citizens. Now, this would heavily impact them later, but, as you know, this wasn't cool with Britain, so they tried to make an Uitlander rebellion because the Uitlanders outnumbered the Boers. Sadly, it failed for the British. Well, not sadly. The British failed miserably because the Boers and Uitlanders actually fought together. Now, at the beginning of the war, it seemed like the Boers were going to win, even though they were outnumbered heavily. They scared off the British with their incredible, impeccable marksmanship and besieged them. But eventually it was too much. The already outnumbered Boers had been outnumbered and their capitals fell. But this wasn't the end of the war. There was still guerrilla fighting happening for 2 more years, which humiliated the British, absolutely. And the fact that the Boers had scared them off and had held them off for so long was a humiliation to the British. Now let's just go over the Second Boer War again. Basically, Jameson Raid to provoke Uitlander rebellion. Next Boer War begins. Seems like the Boers are going to win, invade Natal, because they're winning decisive victories against British who outnumber them tenfold. But eventually, the British use a new strategy, which is beginning an offensive and using remember Majuba and reinforcing themselves with even more reinforcements to outnumber the already outnumbered Boers, who eventually, after some brutal fighting, take the capitals of the Boer republics. But this wasn't the end of the war. Guerrilla fighting continued, humiliating the British, who couldn't defeat them, who had to use scorched earth policies and concentration camps. Yep, you heard me, they used concentration camps to break the Boers, who eventually broke. But this wasn't the end for the Boers. After about 8 years after the Boer War ended in 1902, Boers gained all of South Africa to reign and rule over in World War One, where they crushed Germany and the German colonies in Delville Wood. Anyway, that's been my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it.